And we are live. Welcome everyone to iCritic Live. This is the podcast slash live stream where we talk about movies, pop culture, and life in between. I'm Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. So today's episode is going to be pretty straightforward. So I don't know if anyone out there has heard, but there's been this little almost movie event called Barbenheimer, which started out, and I've made another video about this, but we'll paraphrase here. Started out with a Oppenheimer versus Barbie, two radically different movies as can be. And it ended up becoming this firestorm of a social media event where people were going out to see both. Now, some people actually weren't able to do that because tickets were sold out for some of these movies. And I suspect these movies will do very well in their second weekend. And here's the interesting thing. Even though these movies have very little to do with each other, one thing they do have in common is they've got Oscar written all over them. But realistically, how good can Barbenheimer do at the Oscars? And can we have quite the bit of the showdown come Oscar night? Well, here's what we're going to do. We are going to look over Barbenheimer. And, I forgot to add the images. Darn. Let us do that real quick. This should only take a minute. We've got Barbie here. Yeah. There. Isn't that like much more pleasing to the eye? And over here, we have, or at least we should have somewhere here, Oppenheimer. Can't do that one. Let's try this. Let me download another Oppenheimer image. No, that one's not gonna work. I know you can't see I'm doing this. This is one of the great things about live is you just never know what's going to happen. And this one could work. Yeah, that's a JPEG file. Let's insert the image. Yeah, there we go. That's a little too big, but we can shrink that down just a little bit. Maybe we should let it be big though, because Oppenheimer was like on the really big IMAX screens, but nah, we will keep it fair and keep it to the same size. So anyway, we are going to look at these two radically different movies and kind of determine whether or not any of these have Oscar potential and what categories do they have potential. And I have decided to put, all 23 categories in this list because they mix the sound awards. And first of all, let's take out the awards they can't win. They can't win the best live action short or animated short. They cannot win in either international film or the documentaries. And they can't be nominated or win in animated feature film. So then, that leaves up to 17 categories that each movie can potentially be, well, actually 16, because it's going to be either original screenplay or adapted screenplay. Now, they have not decided whether or not Barbie is going to be original or adapted screenplay. I'm going to spoil it right now. It's going to be run in the adapted screenplay category for the simple reason that it is based off of the toy. So there is about 16 categories that each movie can be nominated in. And let's take a look at what the possibilities would be. Obviously, if it's Best Picture, it's Best Picture. Barbie can be nominated for Best Director for Greta Gerwig. Now, can Barbie be nominated for Best Actor? The answer is no. There is no leading actor in this movie. It can, however, be nominated for Best Actress. Now, can it be nominated for Best Supporting Actor? Well, yeah, there's actually two memorable performances. There's Ryan Gosling and Will Ferrell. both actors really doing a good job. Is there a possibility for Best Supporting Actress? Well, yes, there is. America Ferrara, I think that's how you spell it. I don't know. I'm sure someone in the chat can correct the spelling. And Best Adapted Screenplay, we could have Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach. I'm not entirely sure if that's how you spell Baumbach, but you get the idea. Could it be nominated? And for the rest of could it be nominated for cinematography? Yes. Could it be nominated for production design? Yes. Could it be nominated for best sound? Yes. Could it be nominated for film editing? Yes. For best original score? Yes. Now, who did the Barbie score? Let's see here. The Barbie score was written by, oh gee, so I'll show you something that cool that Google's doing with when you search Barbie in the Google search bar. There's actually two people that did the score for this movie: Mark Ronson and Andrew White. Can it be nominated for Best Original Song? Yes. In fact, there are potentially 2 original songs. I'm Just Ken, performed by Ryan Gosling. That's one of them that could potentially be nominated. And what is the other one? Oh yeah, I know. Then you have What Was I Made For, which is written and performed by Billie Eilish. I hope I'm going to be getting so many comments if these names are misspelled, but spelling names is not necessarily, my forte. And it could be potentially nominated for visual effects, costume designs, and makeup and hairstyling. So, at a potential 17 Oscar nominations for this movie. What nominations do I believe it will get or can get? And which ones would I technically nominate for? Well, I believe it absolutely has and I'll put stars by it. I think there's a pretty good shot that it's actually, I'm going to give it 5 stars. I think Barbie gets nominated for Best Picture. I think it's too big a movie to ignore. I believe Greta Gerwig has a really good shot of being nominated for Best Director. Margot Robbie, I think she has a slight shot at being nominated for Best Actress, but I think she's going to have a lot of competition in that category. So now Ryan Gosling, I'm actually going to go 5 for him. I think he's going to secure a nomination. He's been the talk of this movie. Will Ferrell, even though I know they're going to try, I don't think he has much of a chance. I also don't think America Ferrara has much of a chance. Screenplay, yeah, 4 stars, but that gets into cinematography. Do I believe Barbie can be nominated in cinematography? Gonna go with no. I don't believe it gets nominated for Best Cinematography. Now, production design, I think this movie, give it 5 stars. Very good chance of that getting into production design. For sound editing, probably will not get a sound nomination. I don't think there's anything special about the sound in that movie. The film editing, I'm going to give it 3 stars as a chance to get in. There were some clever edits in there. Would it be nominated for Best Original Score? No. I do not believe it will be nominated for Best Original Score. Now then, this is where it gets tricky. I think I'm Just Ken has a pretty good shot of being nominated. I'm going to give Billie Eilish a slim chance for being nominated for this movie. I honestly would just take it off the list. But here's the thing: the Academy loves nominating Billie Eilish. It's just very hard for 2 songs from one movie to get in. And I'm Just Ken is A, the more memorable song, and B, it's actually integral to the movie. But if they want to get Billie Eilish back on the Oscar stage, they will nominate this as well. So there you go. Now for visual effects, it's possible that it could get visual effects nomination. I'm gonna give it 3 stars on a chance again. Now, costume design, yeah, that's probably going to get in there. And best makeup and hairstyling, oh, heck yeah. So if I were making a guess today, and keep in mind, we haven't seen some of the fall movies, I think that Barbie potentially gets 12 Oscar nominations. 12. That is a heck of a lot more than I would have thought. Now, if I were being super pragmatic about this and I was, giving my own personal awards out, I would take out this song. I would take out Margot Robbie because I actually don't think she's done her best work in this one. And that's probably the last one I would take out. And if I were giving Oscar nominations, I would be nominating this movie for 10 Oscars. 10 Oscars. And by the way, that is way more than I thought I would be giving to Barbie. Now then, let's go to Oppenheimer. Now, this is a very, very different movie. But what could it be? Could it be considered for Best Picture? Yes. Best Director? Oh, yeah. Oops. Christopher Nolan. Best Actor? Yes. Cillian Murphy. Could it be nominated for Best Actress? In my opinion, no. There is no lead actress in this movie. But there are 2 potential nominees for Best Supporting Actor. We have Matt Damon and we have Robert Downey Jr. Could it be nominated for Best Supporting Actress? Well, in theory, yes. There are 2 actresses that could get that nomination. Florence Pugh and Emily Blunt. Now then, it's not an original screenplay, so that has to be taken off. This is an adapted screenplay. So then, what could it be nominated for the adapted screenplay? And the answer is yes, I believe it could be. And the screenplay is by Christopher Nolan. It could be nominated for cinematography, production design, sound. It cannot be nominated for the shorts. It can be nominated for film editing. It can be nominated for original score. And the one who does the score, let me look it up. His name I have to copy and paste because otherwise I won't spell it correctly. Ludwig Göransson. Can it be nominated for Best Original Song? The answer is no. There is no original song in this movie. It can be nominated for visual effects. Kind of. We'll get to that. It cannot be nominated for the documentaries, international film, or animated film. So, Oppenheimer could have a potential of 16 nominations under this theoretical stacking. Now then, what nominations do I think the Academy could conceivably give it? Okay, I believe the Academy will nominate it for Best Picture. I think that's a 5-star thing. I believe Christopher Nolan, he is also a lock. Cillian Murphy, I'm going to give him 4 stars. I think he's got a pretty good shot at getting in there. Not great. great because I think that's going to be a stack category, but he might. Now, Matt Damon has a smaller chance, but they could do a double nomination. But Robert Downey Jr., I think, gets in. As far as the women, I give Florence Pugh 2 stars and Emily Blunt 3 stars. I think they both have slight chances to get in. As for adapted screenplay, I think that one's in. Cinematography, oh, absolutely, that one's in. Production design, that one I'm going to give 3 stars. The production design is certainly not as good as Barbie, but it's something. Sound, I actually think this one's a lock. Especially after Tenet's complaints, like Christopher Nolan really did justice with the sound. I think he almost made it a point to prove that he could do a movie with sound correctly, and he did best film editing. I think that one's a lock. The score, I'm going to give that 4 stars. I don't know if it's different enough from previous Nolan films to be considered, but what the heck? Maybe he can get in there. Now, here's the thing. The visual effects, I give that a 2 star, only because I don't think there's a lot of visual effects in it. Yeah, they re-simulate or they do the explosions and all that jazz, but I don't see it. The costumes, they'll probably give it a costumes because it's a period piece. As for the makeup, it's a little just more difficult to judge. So in theory, these are the categories. Now, which ones do I think the Academy keeps and which ones do I think they take out? Well, first of all, I think all the love is going to be on Robert Downey Jr. So I think Matt Damon is out. Florence Pugh, I don't think she does enough. Emily Blunt might carry the wave. I think she does just enough. The screenplay is going to stay. The cinematography is going to stay. I think they will nominate for production. They will nominate for sound. They will nominate for editing and score. I don't think they nominate for visual effects because there's just not a whole lot of it. And I believe the other 2 categories. So I believe the Academy may bestow Oppenheimer with 13 Oscar nominations. 13. Now, if I were doing the nominees, I would pretty much leave all of this in there except for makeup and hairstyling. I don't know if the makeup and hairstyling is enough to give it an Oscar nomination. And I suppose, no, I would keep Emily Blunt in there, at least at this moment in time. So I believe the Academy may potentially give Oppenheimer 13 nominations, and I would personally give it 12. Now, does that mean Oppenheimer is at its core a better movie than Barbie? Not necessarily. I mean, in some ways, yes, but in some ways, no. Because they are so radically different. It's like that's one of the reasons Barbenheimer was such a phenomenon. They were 2 drastically different original movies, even though one was based off of a series of toys. They were original movies, and we hadn't seen them. And it's like people decide, I don't want to just choose one. I want to see them both. If this was like a comparison of like, well, which superhero movie is better, The Flash or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? Well, that's from the same type of movie. Spider-Verse is clearly better. But that said, Oppenheimer and Barbie are so different that I think it's fine that you can basically say, yeah, I mean, they're just different movies. So if you really would prefer like a comedy, I would recommend Barbie. If you really want a thinking film, then I would recommend Oppenheimer. Not that Barbie isn't a thinking film. They have some social commentary in that too, but I will say in terms of commenting on the world's affairs, Oppenheimer is obviously a lot better in my opinion. So that's my Oppenheimer at the Oscars video. So what do you all think about this? Do you agree with my choices? Do you think that I'm missing something? How many Oscar nominations do you think each movie will get? And which categories do you disagree with me on that will get the nominations? I would love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.